All right, let's look at our two trees and see what kind of situation we have here. The first tree, tree A, has a certain number of leaves when it was planted. After 3 months it has 25, 6 months is 37, 9 months is 49. The tree B has a graph representing its leaves. So after 2 months, right here, 2, it has 15 leaves. I'm actually going to write that in as 215. After 4 months, it's 20 leaves. 4 and there's 20 right there. After 6 months, it's 25 leaves, and after 8 months, it's 30 leaves. All right, so we've got our graph and we've got our table giving us some good information. And now we need to look at our questions. So the first two questions are about how many leaves when they planted. So we have to go backward in time and figure out how many leaves that was. So for tree A, if we look at our rate of change as this is growing, we are going up from 25 to 37, we're going up 12. And then from 37 to 49, we're going up another 12. And we're going up another 12. So every one of those is increasing by 12. But when we look over here, we're increasing by 3 months, not 1. This one is an increase of 3 months and an increase of 3 months. So what we're missing here is we're missing month 4 and 5 before we get to 6. We're missing 7 and 8 before we get to 9. On the tree B, we go from 2 to 4, so we're missing number 3. Well, let's take a look at then going back to month 0. So at month 0, we would go backward 3 months, so that would take us back 12 leaves, and that would be 13. So tree A has 13 leaves when planted. Now if we go backward on tree B, we would go another 5, so these are increasing by 5 every time. 15, 20, 25, 30. Every 2 months, 2, 4, 6, 8 months. So if we go back 2 months to 0, we would go down 5 leaves to 10. So there's our 0 and 10. It's actually going to be right there. Okay, so let's answer that question. Tree B had 10 leaves when planted. That had 10 leaves and 13 leaves. All right, what is the rate of change? Well, we got to figure out here that every 3 months we're increasing 12 leaves. That's the rate of change. So we are increasing 12 leaves every 3 months. But we also need to be able to state that that is 4 leaves every month. 4 leaves every month. If we did 1 month, we would take this 3 months and break it into 1 month increments. So we would take our 12 leaves and break those into 1 month increments. And so that would be 4, 4, 4 to give us 12 out of the 3 months. So let's look at tree B. Well, tree B was an increase of 5 leaves every 2 months. Every 2 months. Well, if it's 2 months and I want to know how much is in 1 month, I have to take half of the months and I would take half of the leaves. So that ends up being 2.5 leaves every month. So now I can look at the two rates and answer question 5. Which tree is growing leaves faster? Well, tree A is growing 4 leaves per month. Which is greater than 2.5 leaves per month. So there's the answer to that, but we could also look at this. If we have 12 leaves in 3 months, then that would be 24 leaves. I'm just going to make a little note up here. That would be 24 leaves in 6 months. That's tree A. Now look at tree B. If we said 2 months, so then 4 months would be 10, and 6 months would be 15. So that would be 15 leaves in 6 months. So here's another way to look at it. After the same amount of time, this has grown 24, this has grown 15. So, 2 ways to look at which tree is growing faster. All right, if they continue to grow at the same rate, after 15 months, tree A, 15 months is going to be one more group of 3 months. So tree A has 73 leaves. Tree B has 35 leaves. This one is in 15 months. This one is in 10 months. All right, the equation here is sum input times our rate of change. So our rate of change is 4 leaves every month, or 12 leaves every 3 months. So if we choose the 12, we have to divide it by 3 because it's every 12. So you have 12 leaves, but you also have 3 months. So we're going to look at our months. Right? We're going to use this rate of change here, 4 every month, times 4, plus we started with 13, and that is leaves. Now, tree B, we're going to take our number of months, and we're going to multiply that by 2.5, and we're going to add in our starting amount, which was 10, and that will produce for us the number of leaves. So we could look at this and say, well, let's test it. After 6 months, that would be 6 times 4, 24, plus 13 is 37, which is what we have in our table. Tree B, after 6 months, 6 times 2.5. Well, 6 times 2 is 12, plus half of 6, that's 15, plus 10, that's 25. And if we look, we have a 6 and a 25 up there in the graph. So there's our 625. And there was our 6 and 37. So the equations seem to work to produce the right number of leaves. Good luck!